I make a mental note to watch which bottle is gone soonest. Sometimes this is a better evaluation system than any other. Wine writer, critic, and author for Gourmet Magazine and wine importer Gerald Asher. Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV. This is the O to V edition, and this is day 24, the last day of the 2023 Costco Wine Advent Box Around the World in 24 Wines. I think I've named everything. And the box is down here under my little bar. The old box is looking empty, looking ragged. Here's 24. I'll tear it off. Well, never mind. And here is our last wine, Nightfall White Blend from España. Now, the last 2 days haven't given me much to work with as far as coming up with what I'm going to talk about for these wines. I mean, white blend from Spain or yesterday's red blend from France. It's not giving me much. But if I rolled around the bottle, it says semi-sweet, or what did it say? Medium sweet. Yeah, medium sweet. That's a lot more than semi. Anyway, medium sweet. At the end of the ad copy, it says sparkling finish. So, how do you get a sparkly finish in wine? Well, there's 3 ways to do it. One, it could be acid, high acid wines, and a good example of those are Australian Rieslings, and when you taste them, they feel prickly on your tongue. Man, that acidity just bam, 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 hitting your tongue, and they're very prickly, and it gives you kind of an effervescent flavor. Now, German Rieslings are made sweet. They're not prickly at all, although the Germans are starting to make completely dry style wines, meaning they'll ferment all the sugars off, and that makes them prickly. And the word for that on the label is trocken, means dry. Okay, the second method is to use a tank. So you could start fermentation and then you add carbonization to the wine, and that carbonization is just like a soda pop. It adds effervescence to it, and you get something like a Moscato d'Asti, which is still sweet and sparkling. And if you've ever had a Moscato d'Asti, I mean, a good example, they are lovely, floral, sweet, super, super yummy, delicious wines. If you serve that with wedding cake, everybody will remember your wine at your wedding, or you could have it at a holiday party. If the New Year's is coming up, Moscato d'Asti, it's your friend. It's inexpensive and delicious. Okay, third method is the champagne method. So what used to happen in Champagne, northern France, is they would pull the harvest in September, and they'd start fermentation, and it would get cold, and the fermentation would stop, meaning there's still a little bit of residual sugar inside the wine. They'd stick the wine into a bottle, everybody was happy, and then summer came, temperatures got higher, the fermentation started again in the bottle, and all of a sudden the glass, it blew up, and you'd go down to your cellar and there had been this chain reaction where all the bottles of wine blew up and you just lost your entire harvest. Very disappointing. So the English had invented a glass making process using coke instead of wood to fire the glass. They could then make hotter glass, hotter smelted glass, and they could then make a bottle that was thicker. They sold this information to the French. The French then put their champagne in it. End of the problem. Sparkling wine was born. And in fact, they still use a similar method today in champagne, where in the last process, they actually add a little bit of yeast and sugar to the bottles to create that secondary fermentation in there to create the carbonization. That's how it's done. So acids, soda pops, or secondary fermentation carbonization. Those are the 3 ways to get sparkling inside your wine. Now, in Spain, they make sparkling wine called cava. This is a Macabeo, Parpaillada, and Chirello blend. But this didn't say that. This just said white blend, Spain, slightly sparkling finish, semi-sweet. So cava is dry. So they're going off the rails here. I guess they're making like maybe a Spanish version of Moscato d'Asti. Well, I'd totally be okay with that. All right, let's taste it and find out. I've filled out the top of my tasting card, and I'm now going to open my bottle, my screw cap bottle. If you have, holidays are coming up right around the corner. If you've got a crown cap with a cage, be very careful. Don't ever point that thing at anybody. Number one cause of eye injuries, I'm not making this up, number one cause of eye injuries in the United States are people getting popped in the eye with a bottle of sparkling wine. Why? Because they take the crown cap off and they're like, blah, 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 talking to other friends, and this thing's starting to slide up, and they've shook it or they've talked with their hands too much, and it's starting to toot, 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 and then they look down at it and pops them right in the head. Don't do it. Don't be a statistic. Luckily, this one's easy. Do I see any sparkle in there? Maybe. Maybe. All right. The color, it's winter and dark in here, but this is pretty pale yellow. I'm going to write straw and pale. Circle straw, write pale on top of it. All right. Aromatics. Let's see what we get. Tropical fruit. Pineapple, maybe a lychee, which is that weird Thai-looking thing, like a little big grape berry, hairy berry. Ooh, yeah, tropical fruits. Ooh. A little vigorous in my spinning there. I'm going to get this going again. White peach. Not a lot of citrus. A kiss of honey. It smells great. Okay, working around my chart. No citrus. No berries. Orchard fruits. Tropical fruits. Flowers and honey. No vegetables. No roasted. No earthy. No faults. Okay. On to sweetness. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Yep, sweet. I'm going pronounced. Acidity, waiting for it. This is obviously not a dry wine with the acid prickliness concept. There's not a lot of prickliness. The acidity is okay though. I'll go noticeable. Alcohol, don't notice it really at all. Low. The body is big. It's got a big body for sure. The balance, let's taste it again. The balance is pretty okay. It's pretty good. The sweetness is a little intense, but there's just enough acid in there to tamp it down. It's not cloying. Complexity. Complexity. One of the hardest things to notice in wine. People get this wrong all the time because complexity is an additional aroma. Remember, your tongue is dumb. It only does 5 things. It only does sweet, sour, bitter, umami. What am I missing? An acid. No, that's not it. Anyway, complexity is additional aromas that you get once you put the wine in your mouth and you swallow. And boy, do I get the aroma of mustiness. Kind of like men's cologne, like Old Spice cologne or Under Armour, the deodorant. That's what I get tasting this. It might be interesting to see if that continues as it warms up. It might change. Either way, that is complexity. And the finish is medium to long. It's nice. The sweetness lingers on the tongue. It kind of coats the mouth. And there we go. All right, over to scoring. Appearance, 3. Bouquet, 5. Taste, 4. Finish, 1. Impression, 1. I'm not sure. Why is the impression low? I'm not sure I like the Old Spice deodorant bar mouth taste, but it's there. It will be interesting to see if it changes when it warms up. And so preference is slight. Is it effervescent? Not really. Not mine. Anyway, I'm going to go do my math. Okay, here are my final scores for our white blend from Spain. Did you find it effervescent? Because I didn't really find it very effervescent. 14 points, smack in the middle of good. It might have scored a few points higher for me if it hadn't tasted in the complexity like a deodorant bar from Old Spice. Didn't enjoy that, and so it scored a little bit lower in that category. But the wine is well made, and you can see that here in the flavor profile. It's expressive, but it's got a weird finish and a weird complexity. Okay, well, that's our last wine of this year. Our book is closed on that. If you bought one of these or you have been using these or the tasting cards, I hope you have found them useful and educational. I hope you continue to use this book in your wine journeys because it will help you learn about wine, and education about wine, I think, is a fun hobby to do. You can take this book, you can slip it in your pocket, and you can travel around with it. Now, Sarah and I will be back in February with our Scotch tasting classes that we're going to do. We're going to take you out into the wilds of Minnesota, a little bit of different format, wilds in winter, and we're going to taste Scotch together. You can see the video talking about that here. And I will say that this channel will pivot back toward canal boating in the spring and summer when we go back to France, because that's really where my passion lies. There's a lot of canal boating content on this video, and I want to invite you to join us. We have 1 week available in the spring and 1 week available in the fall. If you ever wanted to have quiche Lorraine in Lorraine, this, my friends, is your opportunity. You can watch a video about our canal boat here. Everybody gets their own cabin. It's an intimate experience traveling through the French countryside, seeing a side of France, a rural side of France that most people never ever get to experience. We're offering 2 weeks for you next year if you want them. Follow the links in the description to check out our route planner, and if you're interested, send me an email and we can start the discussion about taking you to France in the spring or summer. It's probably surprisingly cheaper than you think. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Until February, I say à tout à l'heure and cheers, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.
Hi, and bye. This is our last one. Okay, white blend from Spain. Pretty color. Oh, Super fruity, but flowery. I wonder if this is the elusive lychee fruit. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but it smells really sweet. Okay, let me give it a taste. It is sweet. Not a whole lot going on in the flavor, but sweet and pretty easy drinker for our last one. Cheers, and thanks everybody for participating. It's really been fun. Take care.